Hey, what's up, everybody? Tapping in again. Just wanted to talk about loss and grieving today. Suffered a couple losses throughout my lifetime. Some were relationships, some were people extremely close to me that moved on. Those experiences opened my eyes to a lot. Some unfortunate, some, like I was saying in the double-edged sword, there's pros and cons to everything. Some, like I said, were unfortunate, but they also gave me a glimpse into the reality of this world. Often when we're kids, we're not necessarily sold the truth. We're fed these comforting tales that paint life in a different picture outside of the reality that we often find ourselves in after we, leave that childhood stage and move on to assuming responsibility for ourselves, maybe others, and the realm of, a partner or even children. Again, the reality of this world is harsh. These storms lately have been showing us that. This is why I appreciate plant life, because, they brave the elements of the real world that we have to shelter ourselves in to simply survive. The resilience isn't the same. So, again, this reality, it's got a lot of comforts in it, but make no mistakes, outside of those comforts and conveniences, this world is tough. And you have to be as tough just to get by, tougher to thrive and survive. Most of us have it in us. You have to make the choice and stick with it. So the person that I lost first in my life was my oldest brother. We were all kind of tough country brats. He was a very respectable man. I appreciated him a lot. We were all a little bit crazy due to the nature of our upbringing, but he was a good man. He was a gentleman. He served in the military. He was a Marine. You could definitely see a difference between when he left and came back, but that's still my dude. Again, I don't know if you heard me talk about Tommy Gun, but my oldest brother, we got into a tiff one day, and he used to let me play his video games and stuff on his computer. And he was asleep, and I would stomp down the stairs because he wouldn't let me play his game. And he ended up, he didn't get me back immediately. He held on to that and ended up hemming me up one day in some military chokehold that I wasn't ready for at the age of 6 or 7, you know what I'm saying? Thankfully, I made it out of that. But, again, taught me about the reality of life. Unfortunately, later on in his life, I think he was in his 30s or something, he had a disagreement with a roommate. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure about exactly what happened, but he ended up losing his life in his home. I got to be a pallbearer and carry him, to his final resting place. I even found myself venturing out to visit him every once in a while. I never forgot where that spot is, the tree that he's next to, where he's at, and that was a super impactful time in my life. Again, bringing to close that our time here is not infinite. It'll be finite in the grand scheme of things. And then, the nature of relationships and, how you'll need to take care of yourself. That's probably why I ended up, probably celebrating more than I should have in my younger years. Because honestly, I didn't expect to make it to where I'm at right now. Even incurring some of the responsibilities that I had along the way, it wasn't an assurance to me, because the lives of my predecessors had either ended or gone off of the rails in ways that, I thought I was going to follow suit in. Thankfully, I got lucky and I didn't. But that, again, I'm glad that I got to be a pallbearer and carry my brother to his final space and visit him over time. That was meaningful in my life. The next person that I lost introduced another level of harsh reality to me because I just hadn't seen it. My grandpa, the man that I looked up to the most, the man that was around me the most, to be that kind of role model and father figure. I learned a lot from him because he was from the old time, dealing with those harsh realities of life in the world that are associated with it. The things that I went through losing him were crazy. I guess I didn't go through them, I just witnessed them. I didn't get to carry him because he had a lot of brothers and sisters, but what I did see was how they acted almost immediately after this man passed away. It wasn't about who he was or what they did for him. And this man carried the family. Like, as far as I know, I could be missing out on some details. I don't have all the bits and pieces of his life. We didn't have this kind of technology to record things. But from what I saw, this man dedicated his life to his family, to his grandchildren, to his children, made sure that he did the best to provide for everybody. He worked his way from the bottom rung in a meatpacking facility to the top, negotiating contracts for his fellow workers that he came from. Strength, determination, focus, ambition. He was a leader. You know what I'm saying? He had discipline. He was very respectful, insightful. He could be harsh at times, but again, the world that he came from, let alone his predecessors. I love this man. He taught me how to fish. You know what I'm saying? He taught me how to ride horses, taught me how to train horses, taught me how to care for things other than myself. This is part of where I got the drive to do what my dream was, to become a parent. That's why I wanted to take on responsibility. Despite how I watched it destroy this man, I wanted that. I wanted those problems. Those were healthy problems in my eyes. Because people need help. And remember, your boy's vibrant, exciting, willing to assist. But yeah, man, at the hospital, dude, life just left his body. They didn't even pull the sheet back over him yet. People are in the room talking about who's gonna get what. I was angry. I was very upset, frustrated, and confused. I couldn't understand it. I was like, this man he's still in there. They hadn't even moved his body. He's still in there. His mouth is open. I remember all of this. It was very upsetting. But again, harsh realities of life, man. Once you're gone, who really? Apparently nobody really cares. This little boy did. This young man did. This old man kind of at this time. I'll never forget that dude. Love him to death. The grieving process for those things were, like I said, I probably partied when I was young, trying to celebrate because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. Whether that's an excuse or whatever, I still dedicated myself. I was vibrant, excited, and willing to assist. I was on a grind. I was on a mission. I had people to live for. But it was sad. It was sad, man. And that was something that introduced a harsh reality to me. I know you guys have heard me talk about my divorce again, but this is the most personal loss because I was all in for my family, my kids, my wife, all of it. I had a plan for the future. And I had to mourn and grieve that in such a manner that it was like the loss of my people. But this one hit a little bit closer to home because I was wrapped up in it in a different manner. Mourning the death of my family and that structure was a terrible situation for me. But I grieved it to the best of my capabilities. And remember what I said, guys. Like, I had every opportunity to turn to a bottle, to turn to substances, to turn to anything destructive that wouldn't have helped me at all. But I knew immediately from previous experience what not to do. I couldn't go back that route. I'd already celebrated, I've already been sad, I've already shed those tears. Turn to me. I turned to me, I talked to myself, I communicated my way through to a continuous forward path for myself. You guys still see me walking around, I'm getting it. Dedicating my life to constructive things, and incorporating people that I want and get to bring into my world, into the spaces where I get to create positive growth and development. Encourage you guys to do the same. This is why I bring you guys in here too. So again, things are gonna hurt. You're gonna have to grieve some things. You're gonna have to let things go. You're gonna have to move forward. You get to do something better for yourself. That shit wasn't supposed to be there. You're not gonna understand it. It's gonna be confusing. It's gonna instill anger. It's gonna instill a little bit of bitterness and regret and sadness. Let that shit go. That serves you no purpose in the direction that you're moving. And remember, we're going forward. So I encourage you, again, to know that I've been there and see how I changed things for myself. Know that you can do the same. I'm cheering for you. I'm not the only one that's capable of it. I'm here to share that story. So again, I encourage yourself. Take care of yourself. Make good choices for yourself. Shed things that aren't necessary for you to be carrying around and do not serve a purpose to move you in a forward progression. Continue to be open. Continue to care. Be selective about who you choose to give your time to. Make sure that they understand that they get to have your time and they are not entitled to it. Take care of yourself. Move forward. Let that shit lie. But also, again, take that time to grieve. Just make sure you don't dwell in that space. And I wish you guys all the best.